Hello, my name is Marilee Orsini, and I would love to welcome everyone here for our webinar today. We're going to talk about something that really is fairly new to the marketing scene, QR codes. But beyond just talking about QR codes, we're also going to talk about how to integrate those QR codes with traditional marketing and a little bit about inbound and outbound marketing strategies. So I know your time is very valuable, and I thank you very much for your attendance today. Before I introduce the staff, corecubed staff who's going to be with us on this webinar today, I'd like to just tell you that I do have everyone on mute mode. We do that really so it'll keep the noise down so that the webinar can be recorded effectively. It is being recorded. We will post it on our corecubed events page when it is finished. So if you have to drop off early or if you have a colleague that you would like to share with, please let them know the link and they can come watch the webinar and listen at their convenience. So the other thing is if you have a question, and some of you did send in questions when you registered, and we'll go over those. We've talked about those. They should be covered in the presentation. But if you have a question not covered in the presentation, or if you have some problem or issue or whatever, please go to the right-hand side of your screen and you can type in a question, and we will try to get to all of those. If we don't get to all of them on our live webinar today, then we will definitely get to you and answer that question at some point. So without further ado, let me introduce our marketing staff who's going to be with us here today. We have Marissa Snook, and she is our most program administrator. That's a targeted turnkey program that we have for in-home care businesses, and she does a lot of strategy in general and also runs that program. We have clients, I believe, in 30 states, so she does a lot of usage of a variety of marketing materials, and QR codes are just one of them. Hi, Marissa. You want to say hi for us?
Hi, everybody.
And Will Chatham. Will is our web manager, and we're fond of saying where there's a will, there's a way, because Will gets pulled in for a lot of different things, but he is an expert WordPress developer. And Will has been heard to say before, if they offered a PhD in Geek, then he would have one. Will, welcome today.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Leanne Hoyer is our Internet Marketing Specialist here at corecubed, does a lot of our social media work and also integrates some of that social media and SEO and writing all together. So she is a wonderful resource to have, and we're happy to have her on the webinar today. Hi, Leanne.
Hi everybody.
Jenny Burkett is a public relations specialist, and that is really media relations. But in today's market, what you really have to have is a media relations specialist that understands how it all integrates together. And Jenny comes with comes to corecubed, been here for several months now, but with a very good background in very successful media relations work and a good understanding of inbound and outbound marketing strategy. Jenny, welcome today.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
And I am Marilee Orsini, and I'm the managing director, and I'll simply be moderating today. I won't really be speaking very much because I have my expert staff with me to do that. So let me just, before we start, do a little bit about strategy, because if you understand the strategy, and I'm talking about marketing strategy, not sales, but if you understand the strategy of marketing, then it really has evolved. And honestly, in the last couple of years, it's changed more than I can ever remember in my lifetime. So it used to really be about pushing information to people. Getting in front of specific targets was the goal then. It still is the goal now. So you're still looking with your marketing strategy about how do you get in front of those specific targets, and how do you get in front of them with information that's going to sell your product or services. So that part is still the same, but it really is how you get in front of specific targets that has changed. And it has really changed drastically, because more and more people who are looking for products and services, your targets, are finding the seller. and thus they're really pre-qualifying as a lead. So a lot of the lead generation tactics and a lot of the outbound marketing that used to be searching for leads, a lot of that is being transferred now more into inbound marketing strategy because of technology, because of mobile applications that are so widespread now, and because that strategy has changed, then what you do and some of the tools that you use are changed. So it really is being where those targets are looking and delivering what they're looking for when they find you. Those are really the keys to successful sales. And so I'm just going to have some of our staff with us today just talk a little bit about inbound marketing. Leanne, do you want to talk about social media for us?
Sure. As Marilee said, inbound marketing is very, very important nowadays, and there's a plethora of social media outlets out there right now. The two that we really like to focus on, and the two that we'll be talking about today, are the big two, Facebook and Twitter. And these are great tools to use to draw clients into your website, to get them looking at your services and your products. And really, you just need to optimize your profiles once you get them set up. It's all about optimization, creating an engaging Facebook page, including your upcoming events, videos if you have them, hosting discussions, posting photos, linking back to your blog articles, anything that can get your followers engaged and draw them back to your website is going to be a great use for Facebook. You're always going to want to include, on both Facebook and Twitter, you always want to include your company website. You want to make it as easy as possible for your followers to be able to find you in another area. And that's what Facebook and Twitter do. They're just another place out there on the web for you to be found, and just another place for you to gain followers and potential clients that you might not reach otherwise. And in order to get your current clients and potential clients on to your Facebook and following you and on Facebook and Twitter, go ahead and send out an e-blast and say, hey, you can find us on Facebook now, you can find us on Twitter, and you can find us on LinkedIn, whatever social media outlet you're using. Let the people know. Post it on your post a tab on your website, like you'll see in the photo that Marilee has right there online there. We've got the Twitter, the Facebook button, the LinkedIn button, and an RSS feed button so that you can people can follow us in many different ways. The same goes with Twitter, like I've been talking about Facebook. Create some engaging search engine optimized posts, and what I mean by that is finding out what keywords are important to your company and to your industry. Using those keywords in all of your posts on Facebook and Twitter can really help you be found on search engines, and that's all. That's a huge part of inbound marketing is people being able to find you when they are searching. And again, Twitter, you can link back to your blog posts. Jenny will talk about blogs, which are a huge way to get people interested in your company and draw them in. So that's just really it, engaging. Oh, and another thing that we like to do with Twitter, and something that we do with one of our clients on Twitter, we engage in chats, which chats are just little ways to talk to people about industry topics. One of our clients is big in home care, and we chat with them in home care chat, and that is to do a chat, you do a hashtag and then home care chat, and the hashtag is just the pound sign. And then when you use that hashtag home care chat in all of your posts, you are linking to people in that chat, and you are effectively just chatting with those people, and they can see all of your posts. So that's just a great way to establish yourself as an industry expert and have people that wouldn't otherwise see you and see your posts, be able to see you and link to you, and know that you are an expert, and that if they ever have any questions, they can go to you. And so later on, we'll talk about how to use QR codes in social media. But that's it.
Great overview, Leanne. Some good specifics and a good overview. Jenny, Leanne said you were going to talk about blogs. You want to talk a little bit about blogs as an inbound marketing tool?
Absolutely. So just like Leanne was saying about incorporating everything and linking things back together, sometimes it can all start with a blog, and it's great for inbound marketing. You know, prospects, customers, and search engines, they all love content that's generated through blogging. And a few examples, potential customers love corporate blogs because it can help them understand what a business does. It uses the company language, and they can actually see their personalities and see if it's a right fit for them. And then current customers also like reading blogs just to stay up to date, know what the company is doing, and maybe how it will actually affect you know, their business and new ideas and things like that. So it's keeping the communication lines open, and there are ways to comment and, you know, link to posts through social media and things like that. And lastly, search engines love blogs because each post represents another page that a company can index for a specific topic. And again, all these things kind of relate, and so I would kind of like to throw it over to Will to elaborate a little bit more on SEO and website as a sales and marketing tool.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jenny and Leanne. Search engine optimization is a very broad topic which basically involves making your website appear as high as possible in the search engine results for a given keyword. The overall strategy here, which kind of everything we're talking about today goes towards a good search engine optimization effort, and that is to kind of cast a wide net, and by posting Twitter tweets and posting things to your Facebook page and using these various outlets to kind of cast that net, you are trying to funnel people towards your website, which is where you will eventually, hopefully, convert them into clients or customers. And that's kind of the overall strategy here. All of these pieces work together, as well as some specific things you would want to do with your website related to keywords and optimization there. But all of these pieces work together for a very strong search engine optimization strategy, which is kind of going hand in hand with the whole inbound marketing strategy.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Obviously, lots of knowledge in a nutshell, so we are going to talk more about that a little later, in QR codes specifically. Marissa, do you want to talk about direct mail as an outbound marketing tactic?
Absolutely. Direct mail, people, are very excited about the new SEO and all of the QR codes, all of the new tactics to use for marketing, but you can't discount the good old-fashioned direct mail. So that's something to keep in your arsenal as well, and do it again and again. It needs to be repeated, just like everything else. There's real no silver bullet with marketing. It's a repeated process, but we'll go over some tips on how to incorporate direct mail into your campaigns a little later.
Jenny, do you want to talk about the difference between advertising and media relations, just a sort of a quick overview and the difference and why one would use one over the other?
Sure. Ads are paid placements, and public relations and PR, media relations is free editorial coverage, essentially. And like you said, they can work hand in hand, and there's different uses for each. But ads are telling customers how wonderful you are from your perspective, and what your service is and what you offer. And publicity is really securing and obtaining that third-party applause. A lot of traditional media, which is radio, newspapers, magazines, and that kind of outlet, that's where you would find reporters and editorial actually giving you that applause from their releases and from their articles. PR really takes the value of advertising and builds upon it to really have an enhanced impact. So like I said, it's a third-party opinion, so the impact is sometimes considered 3 times that of a paid advertisement. And ads are great, obviously, on the web, doing banner ads and things like that, and posting to those publications in your local market. But certainly, I would highly recommend reaching out to the media to actually have them start talking and generating conversations for word of mouth as well.
Now, e-newsletters. Who would like to talk about e-newsletters?
I'll take that one.
Okay.
Those of you who use e-newsletters know that they're a great way to keep in touch with your existing clients and to keep your name and services sort of fresh in their minds, whether you do it weekly, monthly, bi-monthly. Like Marissa said, that's another thing. It's a repeated process just to keep your name out there. But some other great things that e-newsletters allow you to do, you can create these great personalized campaigns to really, target particular markets. You can track the people that subscribe to you. You can track who's opened your emails and who's clicked through responses. And you can also see who has unsubscribed from your newsletter. So that just really helps you gauge how your email campaign is going and what you might need to tweak in order to really make it more interesting for the people that you're trying to market to.
Great. And all of these things, the inbound marketing and the outbound marketing, are still great ways to reach targets. But since we're focusing on inbound marketing and QR codes, Jenny, do you want to really get into the nitty-gritty and talk to us about QR codes?
Absolutely. So this is very exciting, and there's really good reason why so many marketers are experimenting and using QR codes. You may have read in our October e-newsletter that gave a brief introduction to QR codes and also included links to download QR code readers to start experimenting on your own mobile devices. But to recap, QR, which is actually short for quick response codes, they're essentially custom barcodes that can be read with a smartphone, but it has to be equipped with a camera and a QR code reader app, and I'll go over that in a moment, that serves as a scanner. And the codes contain information that's been downloaded, and once they're scanned, the user is taken then to the info that's stored. And in most cases, that's websites, videos, images, or other text that the brand or company is wanting to reach to their consumers. So those apps that you are looking for different devices are QR Reader, and that's for your iPhone, QR Code Scanner Pro, that would be used for your BlackBerry, and then there's also a QR Droid for Android. And a lot of Androids are actually coming out with these scanners already included for you. And you can simply Google. These apps are free, so you can find them easily. And on your phone, you'd have to Google through your phone and just download it quickly and start scanning. So basically, the two-dimensional matrix barcode was originally designed to track car parts in the automotive manufacturing industry, but today, as we know, QR codes have become something much bigger. It's a fresh mobile marketing tool. It's a whole new bag of tricks. And in fact, QR codes are practically everywhere. You've probably seen them. We were talking earlier on shampoo bottles, movie posters, business cards, and even billboards, and even Times Square. And the cool thing about them is QR codes are bridging the gap between the real world and the digital world, and it provides that cool factor, that different experience for the consumer. For example, it's way different than grabbing a flyer. It's a time saver from having to remember and actually manually type a URL link when you get home or later. And it's just an overall different way to express and reach a brand. So on my next slide here, I've got some reasons why you'd want to implement a QR code campaign. And I think most importantly is to engage consumers. And specifically, QR code campaigns, they can inspire customer loyalty because you're meeting the consumer where they're at. They're in their environment and you're on their smartphone. And that's where we're finding customers are truly engaged. And QR codes can actually turn people into brand advocates because once they've visited your code, they've experienced your message in a whole new way, and they may have a better understanding of what you're doing. And an overall memorable campaign really triggers word of mouth. And I have a few examples from things I've seen. And QR codes are actually being linked to digital comment cards for immediate feedback. You know, you can get this feedback possibly before the customer has even left the building. And maybe an interactive menu that shows ingredients and preparation. You can, you know, link to web video. I've seen it in real estate where you can actually have the QR code linked to a sign that could bring you, you know, a profile with interior shots and video walkthrough, instruction manuals. So that would be a great way to actually have an interactive way to reach the reader. Presentations on T-shirts, and basically I'm trying to tell you that the sky's the limit for QR creativity, and we're definitely equipped with all the expertise in really reaching your audience in a cool way. Another reason you'd want to implement a QR code campaign would be to track the success and to find out who's scanning your codes. And that can be done through Bitly, and you may be familiar with using shortened links. A lot of times they're used with Twitter to not only save on your 140 characters because they're smaller, but also you can track where your links are going, who's visiting your links, and it really gives you that reporting and tracking tool with the campaign. And again, will address this more later, but QR codes can certainly increase web traffic. You're essentially directing customers directly to your website, and SEO is all incorporated in there and really making you visible. So again, it'll help you beef up your efforts in general. And a few helpful tips that I wanted to address. You want to make sure consumers do know how to download a QR code in a scanner. So you might want to have a little bit of a briefing on your website or other social media outlets, letting them know how to find you and how to use these special codes. But a lot of people are already catching on and know how to have early adopted these tools. And like I said, you want to set up tracking. I wouldn't obsess over, but I think it's interesting to actually have those reporting mechanisms and to have a call to action. So when you're engaging your consumer, a lot of times they just want to be told what to do with the information that they're receiving. And it's a great way to get your phones ringing as well. Lastly, I think it's important to link to something that's fairly permanent and mobile friendly. And the first QR code that I wanted to address that corecubed has created was something that we designed for Freedom Elder Care, and their target was referral sources. So that's where their direct mail went to, and essentially it was a postcard, and it had the QR code that went to a website download. So they got the information, and they found it, you know, relevant or interesting, a way that they could connect, you know, their people to another company, or using this code to just check out the resources that they provide. So again, great way to send them directly to the exact page on the website that they would need to see. The next one is Independence for Seniors, and their target was seniors. It's a vaccination awareness campaign. Again, it was executed through a postcard and had a web download that went directly to vaccination awareness. And if you see on the side, there's even more resources they could link to and find. This would be great for any caregivers, obviously seniors themselves, just to learn a little bit more about how to keep themselves well.
Thank you, Jenny. Wonderful, wonderful explanation. Since we've been talking about using QR codes in direct mail pieces, Marissa, do you want to talk about building a direct mail list as a component of that?
Absolutely. There are a couple of ways to purchase lists for direct mail, and the main thing to keep in mind when you do purchase a list is to cast a very wide net. The list companies work with bulk pricing, so the more contacts you buy, the cheaper it will be per contact. And in my experience, I've found that generally contacts range from about 10 cents a contact to around 35 cents a contact. Some of your more specialized lists will be a bit more pricey, but you can always get price quotes from these companies before you purchase. If you're going to build a consumer-based list, there are a lot of different criteria that you can separate that list into. Not only geographic, but income level, net worth, individual or household specifics, such as how many people are in the household, male or female. You can really get specific so that you can get as targeted a list as possible, get the contacts that really fit your demographic of who you're trying to reach. And the second way to purchase a list is industry-based. So, for example, if you're a home care agency, you're looking to purchase a list of referral sources, people that might refer to your business, you can build a list on SIC codes or NAIC codes, which are those codes that you see on your tax forms that pretty much say what sort of business that you're running. And you give those SIC or NAIC codes to the list company. They will give you a quote. You can separate those by counties as well, so you can get very specific on that sort of list. And if you're thinking about purchasing an email list, it's not recommended. There's a couple of different reasons for that. One of them being a lot of the e-newsletters that are beautifully designed nowadays. For example, Contact is a popular one. Campaign Monitor is another one that's popular. SurveyMonkey. There's a couple of other email marketing newsletter type services out there that are very popular, but none of them will accept purchased email lists. They'll reject them every time. So that's something to keep in mind, as well as people change their email addresses all the time. So that is something that you are going to want to generate organically through posting a newsletter sign-up form on your website, through collecting business cards, things like that. And here we talk a little bit more about collecting those that contact information. Keep in mind anything that you go to, whether it's a networking event, a trade show, anything like that, in the back of your head should be this little voice saying, is this an opportunity for me to collect some contact information to help build my mailing list? So when you take phone or internet inquiries, that's another great opportunity. And oftentimes it's forgotten or it's missed because you get involved into the sales call. But don't miss that opportunity to collect the contact information, not just their direct mail information, but their email information as well. And speaking engagements, leave a fishbowl out there for people to drop their business cards into. That's a simple way to collect that contact information. Again, always keep it in the back of your mind. Is this an opportunity where I can collect some contact information to build my lists? And that's really it for an overview on the direct mail list building.
Great. Thank you, Leanne. I'm going to go back to you now for some social media and QR codes usage with social media.
Okay, great. So I've just got a couple of quick little ways that you can use QR codes in your social media campaigns. Like we've been saying, QR codes link you to all of your digital properties, so you can use them on your print materials to get people to notice your Facebook page, to notice your Twitter page. So that's a great way to use a QR code is in any print materials that you have, like Jenny pointed out, the postcards that you send through direct mail. If you send a print newsletter, that's a great place to put a QR code. Something that we like to encourage people to do with their Facebook page, with their business Facebook page particularly, is to create a custom landing page. And you've probably seen them if you've been on any businesses on Facebook. They are not just that regular news feed that you see on your own page. It's a customized page with photos, with content, and you can put a QR code on there to highlight a call to action if you've got a sale going on or a special. If you particularly want people to be reading your blog, put that into the QR code, and when people scan that, that'll direct them wherever you want them to go. Like I said, they drive interest in your current events and promotions and sales, and it just really helps you to stand out on that welcome page. A really cool way to use it for Twitter, like Twitter is, like we've said, a little different from Facebook. You don't have as many characters. You really don't get to post pictures. You can use TwitPics, which is just a photo sharing site that Twitter uses, and they'll put a little shortened link there, And when people click that link, they can go to a picture of your QR code that way. So that's a really easy way to do it. You can always put it on your QR code on your website or your print materials for Twitter as well to drive followers to your Twitter page. And if you guys want to take a moment to scan the little purple QR code, if you have a smartphone that can scan QR codes, go ahead and do that, and I'll show you another really cool way to use QR codes for Twitter. When you scan that QR code, what I have asked the QR code to do is to take you to your Twitter page, your personal Twitter page, and give you a custom Twitter post for you to post. And what that Twitter post should say is something along the lines of corecubed creates custom QR codes. So essentially I'm asking you to post this Twitter post about corecubed, and that's a great way for to use this for Twitter, to use QR codes for Twitter to get people talking about you, about your business. And of course you'll have to approve that post. I'm not just going to have it post to your Twitter feed nonchalantly. You'll have to approve it. But again, it's just a great way to get people talking about your business and using your QR code campaign. So those are just a couple quick little things for social media.
Great, Leanne. I love shameless self-promotion. That's fabulous. Well, you're next up, talking about QR codes and SEO.
All right. A lot of times people hear, the term search engine optimization, and they're thinking specifically Google. How do I get ranked well for Google? And that is definitely a good question to be asking yourself about your business. It may seem kind of it may leave you asking, what does all this stuff we're talking about today really have to do with whether or not I'm ranked in the second or first position for a given keyword? But the overall effort here is to cast that net as widely as possible, as we've mentioned a couple times here today, so that you do bring more people to your website. And the people that you're likely to bring that way are the ones that are interested in what you're doing, what you're selling, what your services are. And once you get them there, it's really important to have a good website that is engaging, that is relevant to what they're looking for, that gives them the information they are looking for quickly, but then also offers a way for people to encourage people to then talk about your website even further, whether that be word of mouth or posting a link to a blog article that you've written, or just tweeting something about this cool site they found, or a cool service or product, either to Facebook or that sort of thing. So once you get them there, you want to have a way to continue funneling them in, ultimately to a sale or a signing up for your services or that sort of thing. So it's definitely something to consider, that once someone's on your website, you make it easy for them to tweet about it, provide a Twitter button, provide a Facebook like button, provide ways for them to share what they found. And that's where writing good blog post content, which is what Jenny was talking about, comes in handy. If people see a great blog post and then they write something about it on their Facebook page or on their website or their blog, that in turn helps the search engines see that your page, your website is being talked about, that your website must be important and relevant, and that will increase your search engine rankings. A quote I found recently that you see on this slide says, links shared through Facebook and Twitter have a direct impact on rankings. And that is from Google. And they are looking at things like, what kind of social media profile does a business have? How many people are talking about them? How many people tweet about them? Are they active on Twitter? Those things are mattering now as far as your search engine rankings can go. So that's why we're emphasizing this wide net, this funnel with a very wide mouth for inbound marketing, is to get as many people as possible to your site, so that they will then in turn talk about your site. And it's also important to note that there is no direct correlation between QR codes themselves and the search engines. But again, QR codes are yet another way to make that net bigger, to bring the people into your website. And this all adds up together, again, to the total overall search engine optimization effort. Something I realize we have yet to actually mention on this call today is how to actually make a QR code. Where do you come up with all those little squares, and how do you embed information in them? If you do a Google search for QR code generator, you'll find plenty of them out there that are usually free to use, and they allow you to enter like a URL to your website or an article you've written, or just some text for like a Twitter post like Leanne was just talking about. And you enter that and then click submit, and then it will generate the code for you. Something I learned when doing a little bit of research on this and some trial and error is that when you try to embed too much information in a QR code, it can make the code very complicated and more difficult for a mobile phone to read, to take a picture of. So you want to try to find the balance between making the embedded information relevant and important versus too much information, which can convolute the process. Those were the basic points I wanted to go over as far as search engine optimization goes, relating to QR codes and inbound marketing. Let's see what's next here.
I think I'll come back in next, and I'm going to, thank you, Will. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I've got a couple of questions here, and I'm going to incorporate some of the questions with marrying the inbound, the outbound marketing, which is really tying the strategy back together. And the first question was basically to show someone who doesn't have an iPhone what a QR code does. Now, that's going to be really impossible for me to do because I can't show you my iPhone and how it works on here. But basically, I want to go back to what Jenny said. QR stands for quick response, and what you're really doing is when you have an iPhone or Droid or whatever kind of phone you're using with the application on it, when that application is open, you simply, the phone the camera on the phone looks at the QR code, and it is instant. That's why it's called quick response. It's instant. The QR code reader reads it, and you are immediately taken to wherever you have directed the user to go. We've shown you examples of taking people from a postcard, direct mail postcard, into a website to show resources, but it's really unlimited. There could be videos, there could be really anything that you want the user to experience as a result of whatever your call to action is. So it's really hard for me. I can't show it to you, but it immediately on your phone or whatever device you're using, it works on tablets also if they have a camera, then immediately you are taken, the QR scanner reads it, and it's an immediate take to wherever you've directed them. So you're looking at a video, you're seeing a website, you're have the opportunity to spread the word, tweeting about a business. So, I mean, it's immediate to whatever it is you're trying to direct people to.
Let me just expand on that a little bit. The QR code scanner is an actual application you would run on your phone, and as soon as that picture is taken of the QR code, your phone will launch whatever app is necessary to see the information that is embedded in the QR code. So if it's a website address, for example, on an iPhone, it's going to launch your Safari web browser and take you to that web page. If it's a YouTube video, it's going to launch the YouTube app and take you to that video. So the phone will kind of figure out which path it needs to go down to get you to where you have tried to set this QR code up to take people to.
Good. Thank you. I always think I'm being so clear, but that was fabulously clear, Will. But it is one of those things where you actually have to experience it, I think, to understand the power of it. And once you do, it's really such an exciting and powerful thing. But again, just one of the things that goes along with marketing in terms of marrying the inbound marketing, which is people finding you, your products, your services, coming to you because they're searching for something, versus the outbound marketing, which is where you're pushing information to them. So the QR code does have that capacity to bridge both of those, because you may be, you can use it in both ways. You can use it reaching out to people when you're doing direct mail, or you're doing email marketing, or you can use it for inbound marketing if someone finds a QR code on your website or on your blog, so that can immediately take them someplace else. So, but marrying the inbound and the outbound, that's why personalized direct mail, the social media and blogging, using media relations, and the QR codes all are just components of working together. The key to all of this is that you have a website that is helpful, that's easy to navigate, that is well designed, that's resourceful, that is comes up quickly when someone gets to it, and that meets their needs. And it's on that website that you're going to optimize further for your search engine marketing. All of these other things we've talked about today also come back in and help with search engine marketing, and QR codes are really just one component of that. So.
And additionally, since this is a very mobile-oriented technology for mobile devices, it's very important to make sure your website appears well for mobile devices. There are many ways to do that these days. One of our preferred methods is to build websites using the WordPress content management system, which allows us to create a template or a theme for the website specifically formatted for the small screens on mobile devices.
Very good. If we have any other questions, please type them in on the right-hand side. And I'm going to give it just a few minutes while we're seeing if anyone else does have any questions. If not, we did a fabulous job of answering everyone's question who's on the call today. Excuse me. Here are just some contact information for us. We have a lot of products and services that we either create or manage or sell here at corecubed. And the component we're talking about today is really our internet marketing, web development and design, and PR strategy, just general marketing. So, you know, I'm not getting any more questions. Whoops, here's another one. I love this one. What's a hashtag and how is it used again, Leanne?
That's a good question. Hashtags, to create a hashtag, you're just going to, when you're on Twitter, you just type the # or the number sign, and then whatever you want, hashtags are, let me back up. Hashtags are used for people to search for different topics on Twitter. So if I wanted to search for people talking about home care, for instance, on Twitter, I could type the number sign or the # or the hashtag sign, and then right next to that type home care, and just all one word, home care. And that would show me, when I hit search, it would show me everything that's being talked about home care on Twitter. So when we set up a hashtag, particularly for when we're doing a chat, we do the home care chat with one of our clients, and that is done through, I think it's Minnesota Home Care, Home Health Care, or something like that. And she sets it up, and she does it twice a month, and she just tells everyone, okay, we're doing hashtag home care chat on October 17th at 2 o'clock. And so everyone shows up. You do a search for hashtag home care chat, and then you can just see that entire chat and the people that are talking about it. And when you post your replies, you want to include that hashtag home care chat so that everyone can see what you're replying to the chat, and so that you are engaging in just that one chat. Does that help?
Yes, I think that was good. And I think one of the usage of Twitter for I want to say, well, I hate to say revolution, but that is what what Twitter's been used for a lot. The hashtags is how people found where to meet, and also what was happening in the the various protests that they were having. So
exactly.
That's not a good business use for it, but that's a perfect example of it. Here's another one. Are QR codes exclusive exclusive to you, or can there be a duplicated QR code that would take them somewhere else?
I'll try to answer that one. Basically, a QR code is going to be unique in the same way that a barcode is. I think that a QR code actually has so many more exponential possible configurations that that you will never cross paths with another one. It's just kind of, it would be extremely rare if it ever happened, and I doubt that it would, just because of the way they're constructed and the mathematics behind it all.
But they are unique to whatever URL and the hashtag that you've created for it.
Right, yeah. I think what the question may have been asking was, if I create a QR code that leads someone to our website, what are the chances that someone else creates a QR code that is exactly the same format? But I think that's kind of not really how the way it works mathematically. So.
Great. We've got a question about hashtag on Twitter that's very specific. I'm going to have Leanne answer that offline and directly. So know that that will be coming to you who asked that question. And I think, where would I get a mailing list from? Marissa?
USA Data is a really reputable company. Info USA is another one. Melissa Data is a good company to work with. So any of the big companies, those are probably some of the top three. You want to make sure you work with a company that you check out that's reputable, because you don't want to be purchasing a bum list. And there's a lot of bum list companies out there. So I think the bigger the better. If they have statistics and testimonials on how often they update their material, then that's a good sign that it's a reputable company.
And we have another person who wants to know, can they get a copy of this presentation? As soon as this presentation ends, we will post it to our CoreCubed events page, corecubed.com events, and so you can certainly get a link to that and send this to anyone you would like to, and they're welcome to come in and watch it at their leisure. So I believe that is the last of our questions, unless someone else has one. I'm going to thank our wonderful panel of experts. I really appreciate your time today, and I know our audience did, because you all don't know this, but I can track your attention span, and we've had a very good audience attention span today. So thank you very much, attentive audience, and also wonderful speakers. And please give us a call or email us at CoreCubed if we can help you with any of your marketing needs. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.